Hello and welcome to datatrainer.net. In this video, I'll be showing you what must be one of the most powerful and useful functions in Excel, and that's the VLOOKUP function. VLOOKUP. As always, the example sheet can be found in the link below and also at datatrainer.net. Right, so VLOOKUP is a way of connecting data from different sheets together. In this case, I've got all these national parks, and I want to populate the visitor numbers from 2016. However, the visitor numbers are sitting here in another table, in another sheet. Now, it doesn't make sense for me to copy this over or recalculate it. And in this case, I want to keep this information separate from all of this information. But this information is sitting here, so you link these two using VLOOKUP. Now what VLOOKUP needs to be able to link two sets of data is some sort of unique identifier. In this case, the park name is a unique identifier because it's unique to each of these records. Same here, it is also unique to each of these records. The park names don't have to be in the same place. They can be or these unique identifiers, in this case the park names, don't need to be in the same columns. They can be in different columns. The only caveat is when you're doing a VLOOKUP, VLOOKUPs can only look in the table being looked up from the left to the right. So for instance, if this park name was over here in column E, it could only look to data to the right of that. Alright, so let's have a look at how this works. I'm going to say this equals VLOOKUP. There you go. Alright, so VLOOKUP. So now it's saying which value are we going to be looking up? We're going to be looking up this value here. Hit comma. Now it's asking me where is the table array that it should look at. So I'm going to tell it to look at this table array. So it's going to be looking here at column 1, and it will look in some of these columns. Now when I do another comma, it asks me for the column index number. It's asking where is it looking, which column number. Now Excel looks at columns, whichever block you choose or range that you select, it always looks, the first column is column 1. So in this case it happens to be column A. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Column 4 is the one that I want to be looking up. So what it will do is it will automatically look at column 1 and then from there look at column 4. That's why I said it will always look from left to right. So the range lookup, you want to say false. I won't go into the details of this, but false is the one you want to choose. Another way of choosing this is to say 0. That's a false approximation. Yeah, 0. Alright, so and if you don't, and then also this range lookup, you can see it's got little square brackets around it. That means it's an optional argument to add to this expression. If you don't add it, I believe it will automatically default to true, and you will most likely get lots of errors. So always default to 0, which is false. That's an exact lookup. Just say enter, and there you have it. Now we can copy this down, and you'll see that's correct. So Aztec ruins is just over 59,000. There you have it. So now I've been able to connect these two sets of data. Now I've actually done it in a bit of a poor way, in that I've used relative cell referencing. So you'll see it's correctly looking at visitor numbers A1 to D20, A1 to D20 as I originally selected. But the way I copied these over, when I double click this, it used relative cell referencing. So it moved all the cells, although it moved A2, so in this case to then here be A20, it also moved that selection that I made. So instead of being A1 to D20, it's now A19 to D38, A19 to D38 down here somewhere. So it's just lucky in this case that this happens to work, most likely because this data set's so nice and clean and there's nothing else around it. A much better way is to do absolute cell referencing. So I'll click on this A1 and I'll press F4. Then you'll see what this dollar means is that the column has been locked, so to speak, and so is the row. And I'll do this again. So the column has been locked and so is the row. Just press enter. Now I'll copy that over again, and you'll see A1 to D20 is absolutely referenced. So there it is again, A1 to D20. which is a much better way of doing it. Alright, so I should also at this stage mention actually an even better way of doing this referencing that doesn't need absolute or relative self-referencing at all. Let's say you've set up this quite nicely and that there's no other craft or computations or anything else being done here, that this is just a long list of park names with all the data consistently put in like this. Then all you need to do is actually just reference the columns. You don't need to even reference the cells. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this table array and replace it. Now instead of dragging as I did before from A1 to D20, I'm just going to say which columns I'm looking at. A to D. Say enter. There you go. Now what's happening is A to D is being referenced, and that's infinite. See if it will show us there. A to D, as you can see, that just keeps going on forever. Will be referenced infinitely. Great, so that's how you do VLOOKUP. It might seem a bit strange at first, but what it allows you to do is you can start splitting your data up to make it a bit clearer without having to have one massive sheet and able to reference everything all on the same sheet, which can get quite messy. So you can start keeping different data on different sheets and then reference them using VLOOKUPs, as long as you have some way of uniquely identifying those rows. Right, so for your exercise, have a look here and populate the non-recreational visitors. So it's basically the same thing, but instead of looking at this column, I want you to look at this column. And for extra practice, I want you to do it the other way as well. Populate the state column from this sheet here. Great. Alright, so good luck and keep practicing.